Howdy. So, last night, I decided to try astral projection. And after watching a 15-minute YouTube tutorial, I felt like I pretty much got the gist of it. The following is my written account of what happened. As I entered into a deep meditative state, I untethered my consciousness from my body and went to explore the ether. As I floated above my bed, I heard a peculiar voice ask me if I wanted to go back or forward. Well, there's no way I was going to go back already, so I told the entity forward, and I felt a force pull on my chest. Hardly were those words out when I felt my mind whip through time. I saw the plants grow from seeds to trees, the scurrying of all the world's traffic, and then there was a light. A green light. And as I felt my consciousness run the risk of dissipating, I saw the earth, and it had been scorched. Something horrible had happened. The world had become a desert, and it was being swallowed by a hot ocean. And there was nobody. I couldn't see anyone. Except one person. One recognizable personality on the surface of the planet. He was sitting on the remains of a rusted car, wearing a wide-brimmed hat and a cloak. He was putting sand in a device and jotting down results in his notebook. As I approached to speak to him, he spoke first. "You're not supposed to be here," he said. I explained that I was just visiting, that I was from a faraway place seeking out new stories so I can share them with others. I could sense skepticism in his silence, so I explained that I felt it was important to hear primary accounts and unique perspectives from individuals. I told him I wanted to hear what he had to say. He didn't say anything to this, just continued with his surveying, collecting samples and recording the readings. "Would you be so kind as to tell me what happened?" At this, he put down his pen, and I noticed there was something wrong with his hand. He said, "That's not a story I'd share with a time traveler. You guys are always trying to fix everything, and what's annoying is that you guys know that you can't do anything to help, but you try anyways. It's really inconsiderate." And with that, he took off his hat and revealed an insectoid head. 2 long antennae poked in the air, and it became clear I was speaking to a giant bipedal cockroach. This was turning out to be an especially unique day. At first, it seemed like the story to pursue would surely be the one in Armageddon, but after careful consideration, I thought, fuck it, the post-apocalyptic genre is already a bit saturated. "Never mind the apocalypse, please, tell me about yourself. What are you doing? I would love to know." He seemed shocked by this, and then almost bashful. I had so many questions. Was he a man who mutated into a gigantic insect? Was he some sort of new species? And how did he come to learn human speech? Regardless of his origin, it was clear to me that this was a person, and he was full of curiosity and spirit. "I can't remember the last time I introduced myself. My name's Milo, and I guess I'm in charge of restoring the wasteland into a kind of garden for the next generation. The next generation of humans? Whatever comes next." My heart beat rapidly, and for the next few hours he spoke to me. It was clear he had not spoken to a stranger in quite some time. He said he would tell me what he could, but requested that I do not ask about the specific mechanics of the apocalypse. I agreed, and he went on to explain his mission. Why him? He said that his mother had long known that the world as she knew it would end, and that there would be a dark age like no other, and that it could last forever. She made many plans to stop it, but acknowledging her own limits, made more plans to create a harbinger of culture and knowledge that could survive it. He was one of those plans. She built a great library of information, but those who come next might not be able to read or access the material. So she concluded that this time capsule would need to be a person. And this person might have to withstand a nuclear amount of radiation, so it made sense for this person to be a 6-foot-tall, genetically engineered cockroach. "Why did she make you 6 feet tall?" Milo cracked open what appeared to be a beer and said, "I have no fucking idea." At this point in the story, Milo began to reminisce about the early days of the apocalypse. He said he couldn't even tread outside for the first few years because the terrain was so inhospitable. But over the past decade, he's been able to survey the lands and map out what's left. He showed me a map he had made, and then a map of the same area before the end. He seemed to be amused by the fact that the mall was seemingly one of the few human structures remaining. That's when he started to talk about his hat collection. Apparently he's quite the enthusiast. Where he lives, there's an entire room for hats, helmets, and all types of headwear. He went on to explain that one hat he was hunting for was a vintage bowler cap. Something dark brown would be preferable, but he would be content with charcoal gray. They're probably all ash by now, he noted wistfully. Why don't you just make one? I asked. Why don't you just make up a story? He retorted. Sometimes it's better to find something. I asked him if he has any hope for the future. He said he doesn't really understand hope on a conceptual level, but he has noticed the return of some vegetation. And he suspects that there's something sentient in the wasteland besides himself. This shocked me. What do you mean? Like a conscious creature? But as soon as I finished this thought, I felt my consciousness reel. I tried to stay for another moment, but I was flung back into the ether. As I traveled back in time, I could hear Milo's voice try to follow. It was nice chatting with you! I violently awoke in my bed and tried to go back. But every time I tried, I'd encounter that green light and get set back. I hope you liked that story. It does make me wonder about what ends it all. That's a bit outside of the scope of my job description, though. Hopefully, we'll have a few more years before that all goes down. Sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite.